he was kind of gossiping to other people saying, Sonia will only make it because she looks a certain way. And that's it. And he was like, she's not even that good. Happy New Year! Welcome to Men Explain. I think, I've got the perfect guest for this episode because New Year, new me. What better way to ring it in than a fitness trainer? Please welcome Lucas.
Hello, hi everybody. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, so Lucas, you are what, like a celebrity trainer almost in some sense, right? No, you're not going to say that. Okay, I'll say it for you. But because this episode we're talking about goals, success, and imposter syndrome, I thought it'd be perfect to bring you on board because not only do you help people with transformation in that sense, it's not just physical, it's also mental, right?
Totally. I totally agree. People always emphasize on that physical element.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's about molding your character, becoming a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and true fitness is really just another medium for that. Yeah. So it's nice.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about how you got started and why you're even in this industry in the first place.
I think for me, fitness has always been a very big part of my life. Ever since I was young, I was playing volleyball competitively, and I had the opportunity to really just study what I love, which is sports science.
Yeah.
Came out, didn't know what I want to do, but I wanted to do something related, something active. So yeah, tried out as a personal trainer, met some good people along the way, train people from all walks of life, and the goal is really to impact life through fitness. Yeah, and 一转眼, like a decade has passed. Clients, who came on walking stick, the 84-year-old lady, and she's jumping now.
What? She's jumping now?
She's jumping. She's doing jumping jacks and moving well. And she inspired a whole bunch of people, in their 50s and 60s to start training. And this really resonates with me.
Yeah.
Because, now it's really about aging population.
Yeah. No, I like how you brought that up because I think when we think personal trainer, fitness trainer, all that, we always think like, people who want to get fit or want to get lean or want to get their ideal body. But we also forget that there is a group of people who may have neglected fitness a big part of their life, and now they have to try and start getting onto the right track.
Totally. Elderly training is one thing, but a lot of times, people, they were once very active, but life caught up. People get busy with their jobs, which is totally fine, pursuing your dreams.
Yeah.
Then one day they realized that something on my body is not moving right.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I'm not going to lie, that's me. I haven't been working out in months.
Yeah.
So I was like a little bit nervous coming to this episode with Davino because I think he can 100%.
Going to drag Sonia out to train later.
Exactly. Oh gosh, that would be horrible. But this journey of you creating your own business, setting up your own gym, that is not easy at all. I mean, a lot of us always talk about we want to do our own thing. We want to, this is the year, this is it, we're going to do it. So tell me, when you just transitioned from being like, say, a personal trainer to owning your own business, what was the mindset behind that?
Wow, it's a very long story, but it's always about the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, as one person, right, I always believe that I only can impact this amount of people. As a personal trainer, you have this amount of hours. Yes, you can train and inspire, but, as you start to do your job a little bit better, people start to appreciate it. Then that's when I gather a whole team of like-minded people, come together, make our impact stronger. Yeah, and we actually opened during COVID, by the way.
Yeah. Well, how did you? Why?
Yeah.
Why? They blocked out gyms.
Yeah,
altogether.
Totally. It was
you started the business knowing that they blocked out gyms.
I wasn't really focused on that. When things start closing, I'm still doing what I do. I wanted to send a message that we shouldn't let this fear of the virus and everything consume us until we forget about taking care of ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. So training, fitness, can be done anywhere as well, right? So we can actually, start doing more training. That's when the whole enthusiasm for fitness came about. Home workouts, everything. So I thought that was great. Of course, all these measures came about.
Yeah.
Things get tough. We had to train outdoors. We had to drag equipment out. But it really taught us the whole idea about resilience and determination.
Yeah.
Like just to go out under the hot sun,
I would never do that. By the way. Like go out in the hot sun and exercise, like
it's
what?
Not easy. It's really not easy.
It's not.
Yeah, we were all sweating. We were all like fighting to get the fitness corner. But there was this community spirit outside.
Yeah.
Where gyms started to share equipment, share space. Respect the public. The public started to understand that we needed this place to do
work.
what we do.
Yeah.
To work. And I think generally everything was very positive. Yeah.
But the vibe that I'm getting is that overall you're a very confident guy, or at least you exude a lot of confidence, And to be able to set up your own business requires a lot of that as well. I mean, I haven't really gone out to, aside from some F&B, I haven't gone out to like, okay, I want to do this and like I'm just gonna, leave whatever I have behind and do it. Do you think that confidence is something that you possess?
I would say it grew over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was younger, I had a lot of obstacles that I faced as an athlete that many people don't see other than my teammates. Yeah, I was playing volleyball, right? So it was a team sport.
Yeah.
But I had a huge ego.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Huge, man. Like, yeah, I was
self-aware. He's very self-aware.
Last time not.
Yeah. Last time just like do whatever
just
you want.
Do it
and
get the attention and just
or don't
just
think.
grind.
Yeah.
Don't think, just do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but over time, like I was kind of at this point the star player for my team. I followed this coach from China who grounds me. Yeah, so literally like, he taught me all the values as an athlete. I think sports is great, because they teach you this type of thing.
Yeah.
And I had this point whereby I was being very arrogant. Oh. Yeah, I kind of at some point even looked down on the team.
Wow, do we have pictures and clips from his past to flash up right now?
Oops. Yeah, but it was crazy because we were all tall, we were all very dominating, we jump high. But
yeah, he's really tall. Like when he came in to say hi, when I hugged him, I was at ab level, I think. It was literally right there. Back to the point.
Yeah, so literally like, it was this experience of being very dominating. Then I got blocked. My balls got defended. My spikes got defended.
Your balls got defended?
Yeah, like the spike. Yeah.
What's a spike?
The spike
I
is
don't
like
play volleyball.
It's like an attack, like an
attack.
Okay. Like
you're talking about the volleyball. The volleyball.
The game itself.
Oh,
the game
I was
itself.
Like, my balls got blocked. I was like,
man,
wait, what show are we on again?
It was really tough because at the night itself, we lost the game, by the way. It was a game we were supposed to win.
It was a big game?
Yeah, it was just a group stage game,
Okay.
and my school, NYJC, we are known for volleyball, and every year people expect us to be in the finals, that kind. So we are almost on the verge of getting out of the group stage.
Oh no.
Because of me.
Okay.
Yeah, because my team trusted me and I got consumed by my ego.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was tough. Then that same night, my coach bumped me into the reserve team. After that, my coach gathered us all together.
Right.
Just sit down, a very intimate setting, and he just directed it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, and he told me like,
He gave it to you basically.
He gave it to me, but he gave it in a very different way, not like a scolding way.
Oh.
He said like, Gus, what are you doing? You were never like that when I first saw you.
Oh my God, we have to cue some emotional music right now.
Really, it's so
it's like
hard.
Character turning points.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he said like, this is a team sport. It's not about you only.
Right.
Yeah.
And that hit you hard.
That hit me. I cried. I cried in front of my team. I was this guy who's so much ego. I just cry, I pour out. Then my teammates, surprisingly, they were all very supportive.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that time, really just pour everything out, and like that really that was at my lowest point. At my prime, I was my lowest. I got benched, but my coach gave me a chance to actually make it up for the next game. So there was one last ball. I went in. It was like 25-24.
Right.
If I got the point, we won. Then we proceed.
Wow.
He substituted me in, and I scored lah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, then he sent me a message. It's in Chinese he said this: 一粒球你烧毁了你的信心，证明了你的实力. Yeah, so basically it says like,
you have to translate
with
that.
one spike, I got back my confidence and I proved my worth.
Okay.
Yeah, so that moment was pivotal. We went on to win. Next year he made me captain and we won.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like why I talk about this moment is because every time when I'm feeling down,
you think
and I'm
about
feeling
it.
defeated, you just think about it. Like I was once like that, and stuff. What my coach did to me was really like this mentorship that was like, to me, is a huge lesson learned.
No, thank you for sharing that story with us, because I know that, in moments like that, it really shapes who you are. And, when, like you mentioned earlier on, whenever you revisit certain memories like that, you still get emotional. I can see that it's still very fresh for you.
Totally.
Like, even though it was probably like many years ago.
Yeah, more than 10 years ago.
Yeah,
the JC
and
days.
yet you still carry it with you.
I think a lot of athletes have that moment in them.
Yes.
Yeah, and regardless of whether you're an athlete, there's always this moment, in you that you always...
Something
yeah,
snaps.
Yeah, something like you just recall, and I did it before, I can definitely do it again.
So on that note, clearly you have learned a lot and you're more self-aware now, you're more mature as well in that sense, which is great. Everyone matures and grows up. What what is your understanding then of imposter syndrome when you go into the industry, when you started your own business, when you think back on these moments, you reflect, you want to be a better person? What is your understanding of that?
I think it's something that's very prevalent these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel that it's just this state of like self-doubt,
Yeah.
lack of belief and maybe undermining your worth when you are actually worth that much
Right.
more.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel that this worth, it can be translated into so many things, You did not be the most successful person, you did not be the most famous person, or you need not be exactly the best at what you do. But you just need to know that you do your best.
Yeah.
Right. Then I think that is really worth commending.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely visit that headspace once in a while. And okay, I don't know what your star sign is, but I'm Capricorn, as I've said like many times, and I'm very work driven. So a lot of my goals revolve around career. And when we talk about goals in the new year and stuff like that, and also successes or what we have achieved, I feel like I tie a lot of my self-worth to work-related success or work-related goals, and sometimes I neglect my personal life in a lot of that sense. And that's why also, like, when I look back, I've had so many relationships, right? But none of them really sort of came to a conclusion, in a sense, like I never really settled down, or I never really, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
Because I
totally.
always feel like I put that in the back seat. Not that I'm putting my relationship in the backseat right now. I think that, as we grow older or we mature,
What changed for you at that point?
Well, thanks for interviewing me, by the way. So,
I have to.
and no, I wouldn't say what changed in a sense. I think, in a way, being in the industry for quite some time already, I realized that you cannot win all the battles, right? You have to
Totally
be
agree.
very selective when it comes to it. You win some, you lose some, and you have to make a choice sometimes as well. So like you mentioned earlier on, when you were younger, you had more ego, you had more pride and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I'm sure that also affected your decision making. For me, I used to always take it very personally if I didn't get a job, or if I'm very competitive. So if likewise, I don't play sports clearly, and I cannot play team sports. But anyway, the point is, it doesn't feel great when you lose.
No one likes to lose.
Clearly, no one
Yeah.
likes to lose, right? And I also like to win, And this competitive streak in me was quite self-destructive, in a sense that I always saw it. If I didn't get this, or I didn't score a job, I didn't do that, I was like, oh, why is someone else better than me? And I always saw it that way. But I realized as we mature and we grow in the industry, sometimes it's not all about us, It's not always about you. Likewise, with your
Totally.
story about the sports and all that,
Totally.
you also came to that conclusion. You
Yep.
realized that moment, right?
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, once we start comparing people, there's always like no limit to
Exactly.
how that person might be better. Because I also go for some castings, and do a bit of acting and stuff. So when I first entered this industry as well
Yeah.
to try,
Yeah.
oh my God, it was not the most encouraging.
It can be very toxic in your own mind, right?
Correct, because like you might do the best audition and stuff, but the producer might choose another person for another reason.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's nothing against you, right?
Yeah.
Then you start to accept that.
You have to shift your mindset.
Yeah, shift your mindset and just know that you give your best. That's all that matters, right?
So I'm curious to know, because in our industry, in the media, it can be competitive, it can be toxic, yes, but in any other industry as well. In yours, okay, is there that same level of competitiveness that could give rise to you sort of falling for an imposter syndrome moment every once in a while?
There is actually, like, in
Yeah.
a sense, like, we always want to be better than another. Like, in a sense, like, especially in fitness, you are always striving to look better. You're always striving
Yeah.
to hit your PRs.
Oh, that's really tough, man. I don't know
Yeah,
how
and
you
you're
do it.
always, the goal is always not to be at the plateau, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for all trainers, we always have this in us. And
Yeah.
there's always this idea about how can we do better than the other. And
Yeah.
sometimes it might go another way. But I think generally for us, everyone is working towards the direction of like building this community, such that when everyone starts to work out, when everyone starts to train,
Yeah.
the share of the pie is bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and generally, like, fitness and health is great for everyone. Yeah, so now I feel that, with the COVID pandemic and everything, we are all working towards that. So
Yeah.
more gyms are opening up, more people want to be trainers to inspire life through fitness. So I think it's great.
Do you have a lot of female trainers under you, or in the industry in general?
Not as many as guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, but definitely there's more that is coming up.
Yeah.
And I think they bring a whole different like approach to training.
Yeah. In what way?
I'll say their coaching style.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for guys, we
It's
tend
more
to.
like, do that push-up now.
Yeah, but it's
Okay, I
not
don't know,
really
I clearly
that. Not
can't
all
be
guys
a-
are like that.
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
some people who are very gentle.
Yeah.
Like really, really like gentle giant kind.
Yeah.
I have some trainers who really that. But what we learn and what I observe from female trainers that they show, of course, a lot more empathy.
Okay.
Yeah, they can, that soft approach
Yeah.
is very important. And we use that, and for training and for male trainers as well. I always tell them that, we always have to relate. We always have to understand. Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's not that you don't
It's not
want
so
to.
straightforward. Yeah.
It's not that you don't want to push. It's just that maybe you had a very long day.
Yeah.
You just don't have that in you today. But you made it to training.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won that first battle. Come here, just do a simple session, and this adrenaline, this endorphins.
Make you feel better.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that is really considered a good session. It's not always about having like the most like high calorie burning session, having the full pump in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel it's great now.
Yeah.
Things are changing.
No, it's nice to see that because I do notice, you guys do a lot of social media. You have a lot of content going out as well. That's why I always wondered how competitive is that industry,
I'll say that everyone is doing their content.
Yeah.
And I mean now, like digital content is very important to really reach out to people because people won't know who you are. Yeah, but for myself, for our team, it's always about promoting the idea about fitness as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't really like to go towards the side of making things too difficult, making things too like you must do this in order to get this result.
Yeah.
It's more like you can try this. If this
In
helps
your
you.
own time or your own way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Like this is our take on it, but doesn't mean that the other method is bad. Yeah, and if you like it, great. Share it with your friends.
Yeah.
And
That sounds actually okay because the reason why I brought that up was I feel like there were some moments earlier on in my career that really I still revisit also once in a while, in not such a good way, but hearing about how competitive it is as well in your industry and mine. I mean, obviously every industry has its toxic side and the positive side, but I remember this one moment. This was quite some time ago. I was still very junior. I was very new at the time. And I was still like kind of figuring my way out, trying to figure out, what is it I want to specialize in? What's my branding? And branding, I'm sure, is so important, right?
yeah, like Sonia's branding is like so good.
Thank you.
Really, really respect the things that you do and stuff. I
Thank
feel
you
that
so
it really
much.
resonates with her.
Thank you.
And this is really being, I'll say, authentic.
Yeah, exactly. So that's authenticity, right? It's so
Totally.
important, being genuine, being real. But one thing that really impacted me quite some time ago was when a male colleague, not in the company anymore, from a long time ago, he was kind of gossiping to other people saying, Sonia will only make it because she looks a certain way. And that's it. And he was like, she's not even that good or whatever. And when I heard it, word travels, it came back.
You felt something.
I was very upset. At first I was extremely upset. I was like, how dare you like this? But as I moved along in the industry and I revisit that moment, I'm like, you know what? From that moment onwards, right, I felt like the need to prove myself increased by tenfold.
Yep.
And I wasn't sure whether that was a good or bad thing because I know for a lot of women, we also feel like we need to prove a lot more in the industry, at the workplace, in our line of work, in career and stuff like that. And I hate to see it that, when people say, oh, she's only cute or she's got a good body or she's got a good face, that's why she's going to make it like that. But it is so much more than just physicality, right? And how you look that will take you far. So in a sense, when I look back at that moment, I don't know whether that caused me to develop more of an imposter syndrome than before.
Yeah, I think maybe women tend to have it more like harder than men. They feel the need to actually prove your worth more.
Right, yeah.
Whereas guys, we have a lot of ego.
And you walk into the room with confidence, right?
Yeah, we're always about that ego. You don't break my ego, that masculine approach and stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess for us, we feel that there's this kind of pressure to actually perform, at a certain level so that we can match.
Especially if you were from a background of competitive sports, that definitely highlights it more.
Yeah,
at a younger
really.
age.
Like I feel that there's this, but I think it's about just understanding our differences and finding our learning from each other.
Yeah.
Right. In order to actually thrive. Because I do see a lot of female entrepreneurs and stuff. I look at them and they manage their team in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. They somehow has this in them that they are very enterprising for sure. Yeah, and I learn a lot. I learn a lot just by observing, just like looking at the way they do things. So
Yeah.
it's a very different learning experience.
But do you feel like also perhaps, these insecurities and moments of self-doubt that you have, you don't necessarily open up too much about it? Do you guys try and mask that up with
You
by
always-
overcompensating?
You don't want to appear weak, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially I would say as an entrepreneur, it's harder to showcase this
To be
side.
vulnerable.
Yeah, because when you're vulnerable, you always tend to think that people want to take advantage of you.
Okay.
And for me, I was very vulnerable before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt that someone told me like it's okay to show this side of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
'cause-
can't always be the tough guy.
Yeah, people then know that you actually have feelings for them. You actually care about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes as entrepreneurs, although you want to care for your people, you have to make decisions that are tough, very tough. And sometimes as a staff, you might not understand why.
Right.
But I always think like there's different ways I approach things. Like for my guys, in the team, I always feel that reasoning is key. Yeah, I always have to explain why I do certain things, why is it not done the other way, and they'll understand.
Yeah.
And guys very bro, and once you
Okay.
understand, it's like totally no qualms about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, ladies, I feel that I'll spend some time, like asking them, how they feel about it, what can be done differently, So there's this like different approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah, it's
Like,
totally
that's
fine. It's
yeah.
totally fine. And that's just the way things work. And that's how I observe,
Yeah.
And we learn from each other. It's nice, it's a process. Like to me, fatherhood has really like
Yeah.
shaped me in another way, It taught me a lot about empathy.
I'm sure it has softened you in
Totally,
many ways
like,
as well.
there's no module that teaches you about parenting.
So since we're going into
Yeah.
to fatherhood and parenting, right, at this point, have you had moments of self-doubt when it came to, being a good dad, being a good role model, a good example?
Wow, totally. Because it's like when my girl just came into this world,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what
do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah.
How do I hold her? Is it okay if she react this way? What is her next growing milestone?
Yeah.
And there's so much like question marks, and me and my wife were just really figuring it out. I think all parents would say the same
Yeah.
thing, that but it's so incredible because it teaches you so many things.
Yeah.
It really teaches you so many things. Yeah. And once you see that happening, you realize that they have their own journey to follow. They have their own milestones to hit. Just go at their own pace. And this resonates with what I do also. Yeah, so same, like when you manage a team and stuff, let everyone grow at their own pace, show them and recognize their efforts in different milestones, and support them in their progression in every single way.
Yeah, and you've been through different phases of life, right? First it was that competitive sportsman, then business owner, now also your dad. So you've hit all those milestones, as so we call it in life, right? I'm going to ask you a very simple question. If you had to rate your confidence level now from a scale of 1 to 10,
Yep.
what would it be versus back then?
Back then it was like
12.
yeah,
15.
12 out of 10, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be too full of myself.
Right.
Now I would still say I'm quite a 10 out of 10 person.
Yeah.
In a sense, I don't really like to doubt myself. It's not
You
that,
don't? Okay.
Yeah, it's not that I don't. I have moments like that, but I always feel that as long as I give my best, that's really enough. Yeah, and it just because now I have so many roles to play, right?
Yeah.
I always have to be this pillar.
You have to be
whatever I
the
do.
strong person.
Yeah, in whatever I do. And it helps when I have so supportive parents. I'm the only son, I'm the only child. So now they're retired, I support them.
Yeah.
My wife, my team, the sole owner of the business and stuff. So everyone's relying on me. And I feel that I have no chance to really let go and take it easy. I'm a bit hard on myself, just like you.
I am hard on myself 100%.
Right,
Yeah.
but it just feels that there's this expectation on me that causes me to be like that. And every day it molds me to be
Yeah.
stronger and more confident and just take the leap of faith. Because if I don't set an example, how do I expect my team to follow?
I can relate to what you're saying. I mean, on a different level, I'm also an only child. I support my family as well. There are moments where I'm like, I don't know if, I can do this and also pursue what I want to do. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Balance, right,
I don't want to
everything.
call it's not baggage. It's your responsibilities and it's also our choice
Yep.
to do what we do, right? But in certain moments, while people think I'm a very confident person, at least that's what people perceive. I actually have many moments in a day where I just wallow in self-doubt. And I'm like,
Well, that's something that I can't tell. I can't tell.
yeah, because obviously, on social media, it's not what you see,
Yep,
right? I mean,
yep.
what you see is not exactly 100% the truth, right? And
What moments in your day that, like, is it
I
like
don't know,
before,
okay.
before
So I
like,
overthink. I overthink, like, okay, what am I going to do in 5 years or 10 years? And am I on the right path there?
I do
And
that too.
it plagues me every day, I don't know why, but I don't know whether that's why I was going to ask you, is it a man versus woman thing? Like, is it because I'm an overthinker?
No,
or-
actually, I have that too. Like, what will I do in 5 years, 10 years time? How will the
Yeah,
industry
and
change? Will we
exactly.
have
Oh my God.
so much tech?
Yeah.
Will I be able to live up to that? Expectation then?
Yeah.
Will I be able to innovate now to make sure that I can have that head start then?
And then from there, I start to spiral into, am I doing okay now? Am I the best at what I do now?
Yeah.
Can I do more? Is this it? I'm like, sometimes I question before I say, I'm like, is this it? Is this the peak? Is this all that
but
I'm
it's
going to
always
achieve?
this never-ending path of chasing, right?
Exactly. Like, we're
That-
always chasing something, though.
That
That's
really
the
wears
problem.
us down. That's
Yeah.
why we feel tired. Actually, I have that. If you're talking about that note, I
Yeah.
definitely have that.
Yeah.
I tend to chase a lot, and
Yeah.
sometimes you also feel that you want to be the best fitness trainer and stuff.
But what constitutes to that
yeah,
sometimes?
what does that mean? People say I have some haters. Oh, this guy only can train celebrities and stuff. But
Do haters say that?
yeah, they
Some
say
haters,
that
okay.
but then I didn't start off training celebrities. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, and it's just a journey, that I've now have the opportunity to. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it well.
Yeah.
Despite everyone's hectic schedule, I'm going to try to make it work whatever. It's very important to actually work on ourselves now, and focus on the present, accept us for what we are, and just slowly, as long you're chasing, that goal that you set for yourself, step by step, even if it's just a slight improvement, a slight milestone, we have to really, commend ourselves, give
Yeah.
ourselves that pat on the back.
So you sound like you've always nipped it in the bud when it came to moments of self-doubt. Because sometimes I will spiral mentally and then I'll have no conclusion. Then the next day I'll just wake up feeling miserable all over again. So how do you deal with, in moments of self-doubt, how do you deal with it?
I'll say, I always talk to myself, in a sense
Is it an only child thing? We always talk to
I don't know. We have no one to talk to.
I had no friends when I was growing up.
It's always, but I think it shapes us, in a sense, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to rely on my parents. I'm trying to face it myself. And I guess that really helps. You just reflect, you start to think about what lessons you have learned, Is this as bad as last time, Then this is actually just okay. This is just another challenge that we face now. And I can overcome it then, I can overcome it now.
Okay.
If I can't, I'll ask for support. So my wife supports me, I talk
What
to
does
her
she
all
do?
the time. She does marketing for an airline company, and she's a very different person compared to me. Yeah, she's really...
She balances you out.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, being a business owner yourself currently, have you, we talked about self-doubt, but have you ever thought, what if I fail? What if what I set out to do doesn't work out at some point? Do you ever think of those moments?
Definitely.
Or have you had to deal with moments of failure?
Definitely. There's so many points where you feel so down, but it's always I can never let this fear consume me.
Yeah.
This fear is going to
Fear of failure?
inspire me. Yeah. Fear of failure, I cannot afford to. How to?
Yeah.
I know. So even before we go down that route, right, it's always about psyching myself up to really create this moment, this energy in myself that how did I feel then, this is just a down moment.
Yeah.
I'll get through it. I really will get through it. So there's a lot of self-talk that really spurs me on to say that this is nothing I can't handle.
Yeah.
If someone else have been through this before, they might have it worse. This is just another obstacle.
I used to think that I was a perfectionist my entire life, but I realized as I grew a bit older that perhaps I'm more afraid of failure than actually wanting to achieve perfection in that sense.
Why do you think that there's this part of you that exists in terms of the failure aspect?
Okay, so I would say when I started out doing F&B just a couple of years back, right? And it was very happening, it was 2018, 2019, peak of things, I was really doing so much, and I was like so excited to start a new venture, like with new partners and people that I'm excited to do a business with. And things were going so good, right? We were full house every night. People were queuing up, just to get into the bar on weekends and stuff like that. Then the pandemic hit, right?
That changes things.
It changed everything because we're not exactly a food-focused place. It was also like lifestyle. It's also a bar.
People, interactions.
Ambience, yeah. It's the atmosphere. It's, the music, the lights, the everything, right? And when that happened, we struggled. Like, we really struggled to make a comeback. And eventually we decided, I think we're going to close this chapter and move on to something different.
Okay.
Maybe now, maybe in the future, maybe in a year or two, who knows, right?
Yep.
So we still have that partnership. We still have, the company shares and all that. But we decided, I think this is not working out in this area anymore. And I think we're going to call it a day.
Okay.
Surprisingly, in that moment, I think I took it quite well, because the reason why I almost didn't want to do a business in F&B in the first place was that I was afraid, oh my gosh, what if we fail? What if no one comes?
Yep.
What if we close? What am I going to say to like the press or in an interview? Or like what am I going to do, right? And I was overcome by all those thoughts. But in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop this self-doubt. I'm just going to try. I'm just going to give it a shot. Besides, I'm doing it with a bunch of partners, right?
We have support.
Yeah, we have support. And eventually we decided collectively, let's move on to something else. It's not serving us anymore. We got hit so bad during the pandemic. So let's just move on.
So many like restaurants, because in my neighborhood at Kyung Siak,
Yeah.
we have so many like restaurants, and we seen the whole change,
Yeah.
From a bustling street, everything got so quiet. It felt so weird.
Yes, exactly.
so
Where
weird.
you are is the entire stretch, right? It's all like nightlife. It's all like bars,
fine dining,
restaurants. Yeah.
So every time when we walk to the gym, we always see people gathering, like having a good time, bustling, music everywhere.
Yeah.
But at that point, the COVID, heightened alert, that whole stretch, it was so quiet.
What a change.
Yeah, all my neighbors, restaurant owners and stuff, we talked to them, and they were all very like, I would say they were all very determined.
Yeah.
Everyone was quick to it, takeaways.
Yes.
I saw this fine dining restaurant, they just laid everything outside the menu, to say. Then people come in to do like takeaway orders and stuff. So they just really innovated.
They try to innovate, yeah.
Yeah, so really respect, to everyone to push through this time. But those who decide not to, it's totally fine. It's just like pivoting, right?
Yeah.
It's still pivoting.
Yeah, so in that sense, it was a big learning point for me as well when it came to co-owning a business, right? You have to be prepared that it may not work out. And to me, it's like I don't ever want to, stumble upon a moment where it feels like I failed, but you don't have to see it as failure, right? In that sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience. Because now, you and your partners might come up with something even
We
more
may,
exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, when the opportunity comes, when someone has the idea, it might just click, and you might just use your previous experience like this.
Yeah.
And you might just elevate and escalate everything up.
And I think, if there's one thing that I've learned in being in this industry as well, there's so many ups and downs, right? You could be the talk of the town today and you could be cancelled tomorrow. I've had a few close brushes with it.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie, and it's okay. It's new year, new me, don't have to bring it up. It's in the past. But it's certain things that you've experienced that will also shape you for who you are in the coming years, right? And honestly, I am actually in a weird, twisted way right now thankful that I've been through some really down moments in my life. And you see the real people that will stand by you and who are genuine, and the clients who will back you up knowing who you are as a real, authentic person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think as a business owner also, you tend to start to trust lesser people along the way. But, along that process, you also start to realize, like you have this support system with you.
Yeah.
Right? And for yourself, just curious, like,
Yeah. Ask.
celebrity, DJ, everyone wants to know, right?
What?
Like, when you first delve into this industry, and you see your career rise and stuff, everyone wants to know, like, how do you deal with all this, like, self-doubt, or will you be more mindful that you have to portray yourself in a certain way? Yeah, social media, persona, when everyone talks to you, you have to answer a certain way. How's that work?
The very real answer is that I didn't give a shit at the time. And I still feel like social media should be an extension of you and not a completely different persona altogether.
Yep.
obviously I took some time to understand all this, right? Because when I just joined the industry, it was the beginning of Instagram, for example. Like it started becoming very big in Singapore, and at that point I was like, like I have to join another app. Like what? You know, like, you're just like, you're groaning about it, right?
Yep.
But I don't regret it, obviously, because it has become such a big part of our career and our
Yep.
life. But you're right to ask whether, you know, I built some sort of a wall or some sort of a facade that people only see that. But doing this podcast, even doing my own radio program or doing whatever it is on social media, I try to keep some of myself in it. Regardless of
real as
what,
we can get.
regardless of what the client wants, they may want something that's completely not you, but
Yeah.
you still have to find a way to weave in a little bit of yourself and not lose yourself completely, right?
Totally.
And I noticed that in this journey, this very interesting journey in this industry that is not for everyone, I've seen people come and go because they cannot kind of find that balance or they cannot handle that. And that's completely fine as well. It's okay to do something and then in a few years you realize this isn't for me and move on to something else that will
Totally.
make you happier. Because
Totally.
eventually you want to make decisions for yourself, not just for everyone around you or for the sake of, right?
I totally
Yeah.
agree. Like we all want to build a world that is more authentic.
Yeah.
Right? We all want to see that side of each other that is real, you know, our daily lives. And, you know, although like of course brands look at our social media
Yeah.
for like engagements and stuff, but we want them to recognize us for what we are.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we don't want to suddenly do something that, this is not really me. I'm not actually very
Yeah.
funny, but I'm doing like a
Like I'm trying so hard.
skit. I was
or
like,
yeah,
oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
1 week to prepare for this, not worth it. You know,
Yeah.
we want that. We want us to just be ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I start to recognize that also. Like,
Yeah.
I always thought like, you know, sometimes, you know, nowadays I have TikTok and everything, like, should I create like fitness content that is very funny?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the trend now?
Like what can I do?
Yeah, because I'm not a very funny person, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. I like to take things
Is
quite
it?
seriously. Yeah, I'm not
How
really.
you take things seriously? I mean, I'm not saying that you don't take things
Yeah, yeah.
seriously. Clearly he does. But like you're a serious person. You don't feel like you're a funny person.
I think my humor comes in another sense.
Which is fine, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So at
okay,
that
wait,
point,
so what is your type of humor? Like,
I don't know, like,
are you like sarcastic, dark humor? Like what?
not even those kind. Like, I don't
Okay.
know, like maybe a more intimate setting. I don't even
Okay.
like to. Like, I don't suddenly crack a joke out of nothing.
Yeah,
like, it's
okay,
just
okay,
not
yeah,
me.
yeah.
But then TikTok, you know, say like, oh, you all have to portray this
Like
in
it's a
certain
bit more
way.
slapstick, is it? That's
yeah,
what you felt.
totally.
Okay.
And like, do I want to create content like that? Then I tried, you know, some friends and stuff they did with me. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's on his profile. That's cool. But do I want something like that? You know, like I felt that I wanted
Maybe it
to do
doesn't
something
speak
more
to
me.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, you know, I tried to do some stuff that
Yeah.
is really related, you know, in terms of like fitness, but it's more me.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I
if it
felt-
works, it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a point of failure.
Yeah, I'm not doing it so that really I want to get viral or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
just me, and I just want to showcase this side of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you brought up a good point, like going viral, for example. I think that was a point where it was very toxic for a lot of people, especially in our industry,
Yeah.
because we're so fixated on we must make the next thing go viral, okay? If not, we didn't do our job, or like we failed to do our job, you know, that kind of thing. And I realized that when we joined TikTok, when we joined, you know, when Reels came about, or like even when IG started getting more prevalent in Singapore, right? If our photo doesn't get enough likes or what, we're like, oh shit, I failed on this one.
We all
Or
better
like,
do reels now because the
you know,
algorithm is better.
yeah, exactly right. So, you know, it caused a lot of us to kind of spiral into that very dark space,
Yep.
which please do not spiral, okay?
Yeah, totally.
It's not worth it. It's not worth
Totally,
it.
yeah. I think you just create content that is you know, have fun with it, of course, with friends and stuff. But
It's
that-
easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
I think it's a journey to get there. So to conclude in just a short while, would you say that the people around you really also shaped you and helped you develop like a more, for example, healthier response to failure, to goals, to how you see
Yeah,
things in
for
life,
sure. I
your
think I
successes,
like
your
to-
milestones?
I like to really like surround myself with like-minded people,
Yeah.
positive people, you know, who understands you and who are not afraid to give you harsh feedback also if you need. Yeah, I think these are the people who really keep you grounded no matter, you know, how successful or how famous you get. You know, I think we all need this bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, just focus on ourselves, right? You know, give our best and let everything else take place.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I
Yeah.
think that we are truly, you know, a reflection of the closest 5 or 10 people that we are with constantly.
Yep.
And that also reflects in how we deal with things, be it successes, how we celebrate them, be it how we, you know, mark out our goals, be it how we handle failures, or how we also deal with milestones in life. I think that is so important that we surround ourselves with these people.
And don't be afraid to speak to people.
Yeah.
For support. For help, anything. I think everyone's willing to learn and everyone wants to help, right? Yeah, and everyone also wants to see each other be successful in their own right. Yeah, so...
Not everyone wants to see everyone successful though. But
but it's important.
There's one or two haters out there that will probably be like, oh, I hate this guy.
Important to support
those
each other.
that matter to you as well.
Totally.
I completely agree, yeah.
So, to everyone, like, new year, new me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I would say
New Year improved me, right?
New Year improved me.
Yeah.
Yeah, really continue what has, from last year, take the lessons that we learned, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and just absorb it, let it resonate inside, internalize it, then take our time, slowly, strive towards the next milestone.
Yeah, I figured the trick is I don't actually set a New Year's resolution.
Actually, I don't also.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I stopped doing it a long time ago. Because I realized I never achieved anything on that list. So I'm like, if I just go into the year with like a fresh, good, positive perspective, and then I look back at it, I'm like, wow, I achieved so much.
Yeah.
So you look back and you're like, wow, right?
Actually, sometimes people ask me that, I'm like, I'll try to say something.
Right.
Yeah, then I'll try to think about it, then I'll come up with an answer. But this year's my answer is, next year maybe 2 more babies.
Huh, really? Is your wife watching this right now?
Yeah, she should watch this.
Okay.
Because I told her that. No,
Oh,
one more baby.
Okay.
And one more gym, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. So we try. So this, but it's not something that you definitely want to, make it happen and stuff. It's just like...
It's like in your peripheral vision, but if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, you just go with the flow, and for me, that's that.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on this
Thank
episode.
You for having
by
me,
the way.
everyone. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad we also saw a different side of you, because on Instagram, all I see is like 2 more reps. And then I see some of our mutual friends, saying like, oh, I got totally like killed by Lucas today at the gym and all that. I'm like, oh man, this guy is savage.
Yeah, I know. People always see that side of me only, but then we spend 1 hour together. We're only posting that moment up. Yeah, but there's a lot more conversations which I hold close to my heart. That's why I would like to be a trainer. Yeah. Because I enjoy the conversations, the lesson I learned from...
personal connections too.
Yeah. My clients teach me so many things, They support me in this entire journey, a decade as a trainer.
Honestly, likewise, I feel the same way about our podcast. Like, I learned so much from... Well, men, obviously, I always say they have a lot of explaining to do, but we learn so much from each other. Lucas, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
giving me like an hour of time that you could have trained someone else for. But thank you also for not pressuring me to go to the gym.
Well, I'm going to text you for next week's schedule.
Wait, suddenly I think I changed my phone. New year, new phone, new number. Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode and all our other episodes, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button.
Leave a comment below as well. And wishing everyone all the best this year. Let's get it going.